Let's all go to Cargonia, land of stolen pains. Obey the quartermaster, unless he is a link. Cargo scout the station, find more stuff to take. But the boss is never satisfied until the station breaks.
Okay, I am Madasgardian again, and this is Gloomhaven. This has been out for a while now. It's still in early access. It's based on this massive fantasy role-playing board game. I think it weighs like 20 pounds or something ridiculous like that. It's got a long campaign. It's got a ton of playable characters. I think the base game has something like 100 scenarios. It gets focused on combat. So it's kind of like, D&D, the campaign, the board game. I've never played it. I'm kind of interested in board game translations just because I don't necessarily always have, 24 people to play board games with. So yeah, I always find these kind of interesting. When I see a game that looks cool, I'm like, oh, are they gonna, translate it to digital at some point? So right now, this just has kind of like a roguelike mode, which is fine for me. I dig those kind of games. But I think by the time it comes out of early access, they do plan to provide the full campaign from the board game, which is cool. Sometimes when companies translate a board game, they sort of hobble it somehow because they still want you to, buy the physical one. And that may very well be the case here. I don't know. But it's cool that they do plan to include the campaign. So thought we would start off with the tutorial and see how it goes. Loading. It was supposed to be an easy job. Track the bandits to their lair, sneak inside, grab any loot, and get out sharpish. It's unclear exactly when it all went wrong. Perhaps it was the Craghart smashing the entrance open loudly with his fist, or the brute ramming a bandit guard's face into a wall to stifle his attempts at alerting the others. Split up from the Craghart after fighting through hordes of bandits, the brute finds his way into a disused storeroom and hunkers down, trying to get his breath back. Suddenly, the door at the other end of the room swings open. Well, 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 what do we have here then? Very British phrasing. Alright. Looks like the brute is going to have to fight his way out of here. In Gloomhaven, the first thing you do each round is to pick 2 ability cards for characters to use on their turn. Since the brute needs to get across the room to deal with this bandit guard, you'll need to select a card that lets you move at least 4 hexes and a card with an attack to try to take this guard down. You can look through your cards by mousing over them in the list on the left. Provoking Roar and Grab and Go are the only ones you currently have available, but should get the job done nicely. Note that the first card you select will also set your initiative for the round. The lower the number, the earlier in the round the character will act. So choose Provoking Roar first to go early here. Oh, yes, that is much lower. Continue. So select Provoking Roar, select Grab and Go, click End Selection. Enemies draw their ability cards each round after the player, so you don't know what they'll be doing or what their initiative will be until this point in each round. Looks as if this guy was planning on shielding himself and retaliating, but because you chose to act quickly with initiative of 10, he won't have those active until after the brute's turn due to his slower initiative of 15. Now it's time to act. Each half of a card represents an action, comprised of 1 or more abilities. You get to use 2 actions per turn, and you can pick any of the 4 card halves on the left to use as your first action. But note that you must then use the opposite side of the other card for your second action. Got it. See, it's very, board gamey. In other words, here you can choose either the top half of Provoking Roar and the bottom half of Grab and Go, as it is just shown here, or the bottom half of Provoking Roar and the top half of Grab and Go. Now, as the bandit guard is on the other side of the room, let's choose the bottom half of Grab and Go and get over there. So select Move. We can either confirm or we can just double click. Do you see how Grab and Go's become all gray and smoky? It's very smoky. This is to show you that Grab and Go has been discarded now that you have used one of its actions. This means that you can't use it again until you recover it back to your hand. More on that later. Brute is up close and personal with the bandit guard now, so it's time to give him a taste of your steel. My steel. Hit him with the top half of Provoking Roar. Continue. Okay, attack 2 and disarm. Okay. Either click the bandit guard to confirm the attack, or click the confirm targets button. Every attack you make draws an attack modifier from your modifier deck, and that value is applied to your attack. In this case, you can see above the bandit guard that you drew a +1, so that makes 2 from provoking roar, +1 from the attack modifier, thus dealing a total of 3 damage. Bosh! Yep, we got him. Nicely done. You can hover over the cross swords icon to the left of your ability cards to see what the attack modifiers you have left. Let's do so now. 0, -2, -1. While mousing over this icon, you can see how many of each of the 7 base attack modifier card types there are in your deck. Each modifier value has a number of filled in or grayed out pips below to indicate how many of that modifier is still left and discarded respectively. Whenever you draw 0 or ×2 modifier, the modifier deck will shuffle the discarded cards back in. By the way, did you see that gold on the floor that the bandit left behind? Pick it up, you need to perform a loot action. These can appear on an ability card with a number indicating that the radius around you that you loot. However, if a player ends their turn on gold or a chest, they will loot that hex for free. Perhaps you'll get some gold out of this escapade after all, if these bandits don't kill you first. One last thing before moving on to the next round. Throughout this tutorial, you'll notice that the camera moves to focus on the action. You too can move the camera around using the following controls: WASD, QE, mouse wheel. You can also rotate the camera by dragging your mouse with the middle button held. Nothing left to do now but end the brute's turn and get on to the next round. Use the button below to do so. So we can change our view, we can zoom in. Can we see? Oh yeah, look at he's definitely brutish. Oh, and we can do like a, so if you use Q and E, it gives you like a graduated, with the middle mouse button you can zoom it however you want. Got it. And you can zoom, and you can WASD. All right, all sorts of stuff. All right, end brutes. Okay, and here, that's cool. Down here it's giving you sort of like all the stats behind what's going on. I like that. Right, back to the matter of getting out of here. The brute is looking a little worse for wear, and with no monsters in the current room, now is a good time to rest and get some energy back. Or rather, some cards. During ability card selection, if you have at least 2 discarded cards, you may perform a long or short rest to recover some of them. All the brute's ability cards are currently discarded. Long rest doesn't count as a card, and as such you will have to rest to continue. Short rest will burn one of your discarded cards at random, losing it for the rest of the scenario, but will recover all other discarded cards before continuing your return as normal. So you can recover cards to use immediately in this very turn. Long rest takes the whole turn and is used instead of selecting 2 ability cards, giving the character an initiative of 99. However, you not only get to choose which card to burn instead of it being at random, but the character will perform a Heal 2 action and refresh all item cards. Doing that in the midst of enemies tends to be a risky move, but with no enemies in here right now, let's have the brute go for a nice long rest. Select long rest. Time to choose a card to lose, which is never an easy choice. Grab and go may look weak, but the mobility it offers could be important. For now, let's just burn Leaping Cleave. Ooh, attack 3. Alright, if you say so. Burn Leaping Cleave. Alright, end brute's turn. One of the most important technical moments when exploring dungeons is when to open doors. When a door is opened, all enemies in the next room are immediately added to the initiative track and will act this round. You do get to finish the current character's turn, however, even if an enemy with a lower initiative is revealed. With that in mind, you'll want to look carefully through the cards available to you to see what your options are. You can hold down the Alt key to see the current character's full hand of cards all at once to assist with decision making during card selection. Feel free to try this now before clicking continue. Alright, so there's all our cards. Move, grab and go is loot 1. Alright. In this scenario, let's choose Spare Dagger and Grab and Go. You can open the door using Grab and Go's bottom half. Move to safety with the remaining move points and hopefully be in range to throw a Spare Dagger at any nearby enemies. Select Spare Dagger, select Grab and Go, end selection. Select the bottom half of Grab and Go and let's see what is on the other side of that door. So what about... I want the gold. How do I... Is there a way to sort of target your movement? I want to move here and then there. I want to move here and then there. Can I move it? No, I guess not. Maybe it's because of the tutorial. Who knows? What a surprise. More bad guys. Before doing anything else, let's check out what these enemies are doing this turn by either hovering over their portraits or the figures themselves. Let's start with the Bandit Archer. Just a ranged attack planned from the Archer. No moving. Good to know. Let's look at the Bandit Guard now. The Guard intends to move and attack, but he will only be able to move a single hex. Now that we know what the enemy is up to, we can make informed decisions about how best to finish the remainder of the Brute's turn. Your best bet is to get the Brute out of the range of the Guard's move whilst getting as close to the Archer as possible. She doesn't have a move this turn, so if we move the Brute next to her, she will have to ranged attack from an adjacent hex and incur disadvantage, meaning she'll draw 2 attack modifiers and apply the worst one! Exclamation point. From there, the Bandit Guard will still be in range to be hit by a Spare Dagger's top half, yet unable to reach the Brute to attack back this round. This plan should minimize the amount of damage the Brute takes this round, whilst still getting a good amount of damage. And let's do it. Man, they sure like whilst. Alright, so we are going to continue moving. Select the top half of Spare Dagger, and we will... Ranged attacks allow you to hit enemies from further than 1 hex away, but as mentioned, when entering the room you will incur disadvantage if you try to use ranged attacks on an adjacent enemy. As you can see, the Archer now has a flashing disadvantage icon to indicate this, and the attack preview above her head is in purple. I do see that. Okay. Since the Bandit Guard isn't adjacent to the Brute, let's throw the Spare Dagger at him. Either click the Bandit Guard to confirm the attack, or click the Confirm Targets button. Haha! Haha! So, see that? If you had attacked the Archer, the critical hit ×2 modifier would have been discarded. Not that we knew, mind you, but minimizing such eventualities is a good way to play. I see. Wow, got him. Ooh, he golded. End Brute's turn. Bandit Archer's turn. Phew, that could have been nasty. She very nearly dealt you 5 damage instead of just 1. You can see why trying to give ranged enemies disadvantage when you can is a good strategy. However, if an enemy with a ranged attack has movement before the attack on their turn, they will back away if possible first. Unfortunately though, 1 damage still got through. When damaged, you can choose to either lose that much health, burn 1 available card, or 2 discarded cards. It's usually best to only burn cards when it is very high damage or if you really have to, so for now let's just have the Brute take 1 damage. We shall receive damage. Just the Archer left in here now. Let's go early and play a nice little trick on her using that handy trap on the floor. Okay. Select Provoking Roar. Whoa. Select Sweeping Blow. Okay. Looks like she's planning to move and attack this round, if she even gets a turn. Ho ho. Use Provoking Roar's disarming attack on her first. That'll both weaken her and will prevent any attacks back should the rest of the plan go awry. Even if the drawn attack modifier causes no damage to be dealt, she will still gain the disarmed condition and be unable to attack the Brute back. So, Provoking Roar, we will disarm. Select the Bandit Archer. Another great hit. Now let's move closer to the door and give her a nudge onto that rusty old trap. Select the bottom half of Sweeping Blow. Move to the highlighted hex. Skip the remaining movement. Select the Bandit Archer as the target for the push. Select the hex containing the trap to push the Bandit Archer into it. Click the hex again. That's not very nice. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Through careful positioning and planning, you can often find creative lines like that one to beat the odds, even when seemingly outnumbered. End turn. Time to check out the next room, but the Brute has no available cards remaining. Let's long rest again to get some cards back. Let's burn Provoking Roar, as its bottom half is of no use right now. And the top half is comparable... And the top half is comparable to some of our other cards. Worth noting now that with the Brute's card pool diminishing, if a character ends their turn with fewer than 2 playable cards and fewer than 2 discarded cards, they'll be exhausted and be unable to act, no matter how much health they have left. If all your cards become exhausted, it's game over. Choose Provoking Roar as the card to burn. But the gold... Right, let's see what's through the next door. Same tactics as last time. Spare Dagger and Grab and Go. Oops. Select the bottom half of Grab and Go. Move into the doorway. Wow, look at all the treasure in here that I can't see. Alright, let's move up here. Wow, look at all the treasure in here, and 3 bandit guards too. This ain't gonna be easy. Hang on, who's that in the corner? Oh yeah, look at that. It's the Cragheart, albeit looking in somewhat rough shape, more so than usual. With him back in the party, we can swiftly dispatch these bandits without issue. Looks like he's going to be up next. Let's finish the Brute's turn. If you mouse over the guards, you can see that they're planning to move 2, attack 2. That is so. With so few cards left of our own, we need to be careful. We need to carefully navigate this last room to avoid confusion. Exhausting. Let's get the Brute over towards the Cragheart and attack the closest bandit guard while we're at it. Aye, for there is strength in numbers. I know what you are thinking. Spare Dagger is a ranged attack, but the Brute is standing next to the target, and a disadvantage attack is surely not the most intelligent move. Well, on each half of a card, you can also find default actions for situations just like this. To the left and right of the central initiative values are 2 small default action icons. These allow the character to perform a melee attack for 2 instead of the top action, or a default move of 2 instead of the bottom action. They are pretty handy when you are in a situation just like this one. Let's attack the bandit guard using the default attack button on the Spare Dagger. Only a +0 this time, but by choosing not to ranged attack from adjacent hex, you didn't incur disadvantage. Not bad. And Brute's turn. Over to the Cragheart now. He's already had some cards selected for his the turn, so let's see how we can best use them. It'd be great if we could move up next to that pair of bandit guards and hit them both with Avalanche, but we can't currently reach them with the move abilities available. Oh yeah. However, if you look over at the Cragheart's inventory, he is wearing some Boots of Striding. These can grant him 2 extra hexes of range for a single move. Let's use them to get closer to the 2 guards now and ping them for a bit of extra damage while we're at it. Okay, select the bottom half of Rumbling Advance. Select Boots of Striding from the inventory. During your movement, add +2 movement to a single movement. Select Boots of Striding. Oh, over here. Got it. Yes, so now we can move more than usual. So yeah, as you can see, the characters are a little... It's not your typical, like, I am a dwarf fighter, I am a blah blah blah. They have some... This is like Rockman or like the Thing from Marvel Comics. So yeah, definitely a little sort of different than your typical RPG. But anyway, confirm action to continue. All adjacent allies and enemies suffer 1 damage. Nice. Many ability card actions are comprised of multiple abilities and effects. These always play out in order from top to bottom. For example, the bottom half of Cragheart's Rumbling Advance is a move ability, followed by a damage ability, followed by an Earth Elemental Infusion. Earth Element Infusing. Element is available for use after the current character's turn ends. What are infusions, I hear you ask? If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, the Elemental Infusions holder can be seen. And it is showing now that Earth is currently being infused. This means at the end of this character's turn, it will be available for the remainder of this round and the next for any character, be it player or monster, to consume in order to augment certain abilities. Therefore, the character who infuses an element cannot use it that turn, as it is only available after the current turn and this round is over. We'll get on to consumes in just a moment. Back to the action now. Let's hit those bandits with Avalanche. Avalanche's top half is an area of effect attack, as denoted by the hex pattern that shows you its shape. It is a melee area effect attack, as the shape has a gray hex, representing the hex the Cragheart is on, with the red hexes indicating those that will be attacked. The shape can be rotated about the Cragheart using the mouse, so you'll be able to line up the two hexes to attack the bandit guards. It's like the top half of Avalanche. It's like both guards as targets to be attacked. Are they both select? I believe they're both selected. This is a little faint. I believe they are both selected. They're left click the either click the left bandit guard to confirm or click blah blah blah. We did it. That hit pretty hard. Did you notice the burn icon in the bottom right corner of the Avalanche's top half? Actions with this icon burn the card instead of discarding it after use, which means you cannot recover them by normal means such as resting, although certain effects do exist that permit recovery of burned cards. Using the default action that accompanies an action with a burn icon will discard the card after use as normal, however. Now, after you end the Cragheart's turn, it'll be time for the bandit guards to take theirs. As you now have two player controlled characters, note that monsters target first based on distance and then on initiative. So the Brute and the Cragheart are going to face one guard each here. What? That didn't make sense. Oh. End Cragheart's turn. Oh, yeah, there's two. I'm dumb. Uh-oh, the Cragheart is in trouble. The damage from this hit would be lethal and exhaust him. In this case, you only really have the option of burning one available card, as the damage would be lethal. Bear in mind that when a character runs out of cards, they are exhausted anyway, so be careful not to burn too many cards too quickly. It is generally easier to regain health points than cards. For now, let's choose Crushing Grasp. Select burn one available card. Select Crushing Grasp. Burn Crushing Grasp. You have no choice but for the Brute to take the damage here. If you burn either an available card or two discarded cards, you won't have enough cards next turn and would be instantly exhausted. So we only have 3. Got it. Continue. Receive damage. Okay, so we have 2 damages left. Once again, the Brute doesn't have enough available cards to even take a turn this round. He's going to have to rest, but a long rest would let the bandit go first, and likely deal enough damage to wipe out the Brute before he could heal. Let's go for a short rest this time. Are you sure? Yes. Spare Dagger isn't exactly ideal as the randomly selected card to burn, as you might really need that extra attack on the bottom. However, once per short rest, you can opt to redraw the random card to burn it at the cost of 1 damage. Scary though it may seem to do, with the Brute only having 2 health left, let's redraw. You know it will burn Grab and Go, as it is the only other discarded card. Burn Grab and Go. Now that the Brute has enough cards to take a turn, select Spare Dagger first. It has the lowest initiative. We need to kill the bandit guard before he has a chance to act. Spare Dagger. Oh, what? What? Oh, yeah. Now let's switch over to Cragheart to pick his abilities for the next round. Switch to Cragheart either by clicking him directly, his symbol above the ability cards, or his portrait in the initiative tracker. His symbol above the ability cards. Is that these? Is this his symbol? Oh, he's selected. That's the important thing. Once again, we want to go as early in this round as possible to hopefully get our turn in before the bandit guards. So let's select Explosive Punch first. Crater and Massive Boulder's top halves are fairly similar, but let's pick Crater just to be safe. We can play around the attack modifiers missing by using Crater's push to finish the guard off on the trap behind him if need be. Select Explosive Punch, select Crater. So we want Crater instead because they can both damage him, I believe. Luckily for you, the Bandit Guard has drawn a card with greater initiative, so both the Brute and the Cragheart will get to go before them. Let's finish them off. Select the top half of Sweeping Blow. Select the Bandit Guard as the target for the attack. Got him. Great job, you've now got an opportunity to grab that chest before the Cragheart hopefully finishes off the last Bandit Guard and the scenario ends. Select the default move action from Spare Dagger and move onto the chest. Player characters perform a loot at the... oh well. Okay. Minor Healing Potion. During your turn, perform a Heal 3 action. Heal 3 self action. Got it. Warhammer. During your melee attack, add stun to the entire attack action. Nice haul. Perhaps the Cragheart will swap his ill-fitting boots for the Warhammer. They look like they'd fit the Brute better anyhow. Explosive Punch was selected mostly for the low initiative. It offers little else in this situation. However, as Crater has a strong ranged attack, let's use Explosive Punch to move away slightly to avoid disadvantage. May as well move onto a tile with the same gold, some gold while we're at it. Move here. Okay. Skip the remaining movement. Good thing we infused Earth last turn, because before using Crater we want to augment it by consuming the infused Earth element, thereby adding the push effect to the attack. That way, even if we miss on the attack modifiers, the guard will take fatal damage from the trap, just like the poor archer in the room prior. Toggle on the consume Earth augmentation on the top half of Crater. Select the top half of Crater, taking care not to toggle off the consume. Select Bandit Guard as the target for the attack. Well, would you look at that? We drew the ×0 modifier. If we hadn't planned ahead with this backup push, the guard would have survived this trap. Let's finish him off by pushing him onto the trap. Select the hex containing the trap. And Cragheart's turn. And he scoops up some gold. Okay, well that was an abrupt end of the tutorial, but yeah, so that was the tutorial to Gloomhaven. If it looks interesting, maybe next time we'll try out an adventure. And again, so it's in early access. They said they were planning to be in there about a year, and it came out last summer, so I would assume sometime this summer, hopefully they'll be launching the full game with a campaign. But yeah, it does have sort of like a roguelike mode, which seems like it's a game that's pretty well suited to that. So yeah, we'll probably do another video on this and try some of the roguelike adventure. Talk to you then. Bye.
When we pulled into Cargo Bay in need of shotgun shells, the QM yelled at me to stop a banging on his bell. We wanted some munitions for our glorious Valid hunt, but found too late that they just hated us green tiny cunts.
And we're banned from cargo, everyone. Banned from cargo just for having a little fun.
We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their war.
Now NT doesn't want us anymore.
I started as a cargo tech and I had to send these comms, so I did what anyone would do and ordered 20 bombs.
Hey, can I borrow
but
that?
then an engine with a welder hit me and set me ablaze. So cargo set on fire too when the server lagged for days. And we're banned from cargo, everyone. Banned from cargo
Just for having a little fun.
We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their war.
Now NT doesn't want us anymore.
Worked the shift as King Cargo decided to succeed. The cargo techs were sent out to take all things we need. Foolishly Sec challenged us and all of them did fall. The only thing that stopped us was that Guardian shuttle call. And we're
Banned from cargo, everyone.
Banned from cargo just for having a little fun. We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their ore. And now NT doesn't want us anymore.
Take it from you, Stagger.
I heard those fucking techies were building an engine. They didn't heed my warnings, they constructed an SM. Just to let them know who really is the chief. I cut the power, locked the doors, and now they're all ground beef. And we're banned from cargo, everyone. Banned from cargo just for having a little fun.
We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their ore. Now NT doesn't want us anymore. Solo!
There we go. Y'all got some yellow gloves I could borrow? Hey, is it cool if I stash this here? Nah, it's fine. I got you.
And we're banned from cargo, everyone. Banned from cargo just for having a little fun. We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their ore. Now NT doesn't want us anymore. A pizza party is reward enough for all the cargo techs. Might as well still work for this because of their nervous wrecks. Any other suggestion just might be a side obscene. Just another fucking ship on Space Station 13. And we're banned from cargo, everyone. Banned from cargo just for having a little fun. We spent the whole round gearing up and stealing all their ore. Now NT doesn't want us anymore. Because we're job banned.